Hello, my people. Let's look at what Morocco national soccer team are doing in World Cup. The opening game was successful. Against Brazil. They didn't manage to get draw. It's Brazil that managed to get draw because they nearly win that game. But this is not what I'm going to talk about now. I'm going to talk about the what other African countries should learn, especially those African countries that love football, love soccer. You know, among 26 players Morocco got in this current World Cup in United States, only seven of them was born in Morocco, and the rest of them was born. Most of them was born in Europe, and they still come back to play for their national team. That's the big lesson we should learn from this Moroccan national team. Because when we see France, we see England, we see Belgium, we see Holland, we see all these African players, so-called African players, but just that they were born in the West. And instead of them to go back and represent their country, of their father, they opt to play for the country where they were born. Sometimes I don't blame them for doing that. You know what I mean? Because some of the countries in Africa are really not something to write home about. Like, if your parents like a refugee and you're running from war-torn zone and you find a safe haven in Europe and stay there and you don't have a happy memory of your country. So it's a concern. You don't have to downplay it. Maybe these parents will convince their children, don't do this, don't play for my country, because my country didn't treat me well, or my parents were, stuff like that. So my grandparents were, and or maybe they have other reasons why they decided to represent the country where they were born. I don't have all the answers. I'm just giving you like something. I'm thinking like it might be the cause. And let me give you the name of these six Moroccan players that were born in Morocco now playing in a World Cup. So among these 26 players Morocco got in World Cup, which means you're looking at seven of them were only born in Africa, which means like 19 of them were foreign born. But in these 19 of them, they find it in their heart to come back and represent Morocco. If other African players in the world today or in Europe today come back to represent Africa, you're looking at Africa would have won the World Cup. Because just if you doubt me, look at the French team. Look at Mbappe, look at Ulisse, look at Dambele. All these people, their parents is Africa. It's not like their parents is a mixed stuff like that. We're not even talking about the mixed one. We are talking about now pure African parents, and they don't want to play for Africa. So it's a tragedy because by the end of the day, it's Africa losing. You know what I mean? And who is winning? Those that win is the Europeans. Because they don't. One thing about them is that they don't care how they get to win. They don't. They want to anything. They want to do anything possible. They don't consider race because by the end of the day, if France win, for instance, the World Cup, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be that all these African players. It's gonna be that France. The news is gonna be France won it, and France will come first before they start talking about like somebody like Mbappe or Lisa. You know what I mean? That's why it's important. So before I forget to give you those names that Moroccans that were born in Morocco, let me circle back and mention those names, and I will tell you which position they play, so that you might look out for them. But the rest of them, the rest of the 19 players were born outside, which means they don't even have much cultural stuff about Morocco, but they still were able to integrate with the team, speak relatively the same language. And let me give you the name of these seven of them. And the first one is Azedine Unahi. I think he's a midfielder. And the second one is Ayob El Kabi, forward. He plays for, he's a striker, Sofian Rahimi, forward again. And the fourth one is Ahmed Rada. He's a goalkeeper, but I don't know whether is the assistant goalkeeper or is the main goalkeeper. And another one is the Yusuf Balamini or Yusuf Balamari. Is a defender, but he can play as well as a forward as well. And the next one is Mawen Saden, is a defender, and the last one about among the seven is Amin Sai, is a forward. These are the only guys that were born in Africa among the Moroccan teams. So African countries should try their best to be like Morocco, to do something that other Africans are not doing. That's why, so that those players born abroad, we like to go and represent them. It's a, you know, I support Africans as long as they're in World Cup. I support all of them. I want Africa to win World Cup. It's not good that the World Cup have been going on for more than 100 years now, and they haven't. No African country have won it. So we are just there to participate and just like shoe shiner. We just help the event to go on to be completed. It's not good. We shouldn't be just a participant. We should be winners. It's those that wins this stuff. They don't have two heads and they don't have like three legs. They got two legs like us. Africa have all the energy. They have the talent to get to win the World Cup because I think what Africa lacks is organization. That's what it is. It's not about we don't have the talent to win the World Cup. We have it, but we don't have the organization, the technicalities that's needed. Because football these days are so technical. You have to. It's technical. Sometimes you win game based on technical level, and sometimes you have a bit of luck. So we wish all the African teams participating in a World Cup the best of luck, and hopefully some of them will go far. That's our wish, or even win the World Cup. That will be better. Peace.